Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So this is an introduction to SID, which is the Islamic lifestyle shift that changed my whole entire life. Once I started doing it daily, there were changes, not just how I made dua, but how I connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how I lived my life. And over time, these results became life-changing, subhanAllah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm Yusuf, and this channel is about Islamic reminders and habits that can help transform your life, build your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and help you prepare for the Akhira, because that's what we're on this world for. So there's 3 parts to SID: Salawat, Istighfar and Dhikr. Okay? Honestly, this is it. I said it here, you could stop watching now and just do these 3 things. All 3 of these acts have incredible spiritual and emotional benefits that will help you not just in this world, but in the next as well. And wallahi, I'm a living example of this. If you implement the 3 actions above, the Salawat, Istighfar and Dhikr, it will change your life. It's not an overnight magic. You have to have patience, and I'll come on to this here, subhanAllah, here it is. So you have to have these 3 things: consistency, patience, and yaqeen. Okay, these 3 things are important in anything in Islam, and let me explain why. Consistency, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that the most beloved acts of worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are those that are consistent, even if they're small. So what does this mean in SID? It means that if you are only able to do 10 salawat per day, 10 istighfar per day, 10 dhikr per day, but you do it every single day, this is better than doing 1,000 of them, but just doing it once per week. And there's a plant analogy for this. So if you have a plant in a house and you water this plant every single day, just a little bit every single day, the plant will survive, it will grow, it will flourish. But if you did it once a week, and you flooded it with water, the plant would die. And it's the same here, really. Well, you won't die, but you understand. So I'm not saying don't go off and try and do 30,000 salawat per day, 30,000 istighfar per day, 30,000 dhikr per day. No, because it's great if you're able to do that. But this is a long-term process. And if you start off like that, the chances are 90% chance that you will at some point give up. You'll get lazy, you'll just say, no, this is too much. Allah. So start per day. It doesn't have to be 10 per day, but if you can do 10 per day, but make it every single day, that is better for you. Then there's patience. Now, subhanAllah, we all know about patience, and Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 153, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, ista'inu bis-sabri was-salah, inna Allaha ma'a-sabirin. Okay, so we know the importance of patience in Islam, and patience is important in whatever you choose to do, but if you're doing these 3 things here, you have to have patience. It will take time. And you have to have patience. But there's a quote I really like, which is that patience is not just about waiting. Patience is about maintaining a positive attitude whilst you are waiting. So inshallah, if you have patience and consistency, you're on the right path. Now, one of the last things that I think you really need is Yaqeen. Yaqeen means certainty. And Talib said, if the veil of the unseen were to be removed, it would not increase my certainty. SubhanAllah, once you actually understand what this means, you will view Yaqeen in a completely different way to how you've ever viewed it in your life. So this is essentially saying that Ali ibn Talib had such a certainty in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, such a certainty in the unseen world, that if the veil was to be removed and he was able to see the unseen world, it would not increase his Yaqeen at all. His Yaqeen was at that high level. We cannot get to that level of Yaqeen that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his companions had, but we can try and increase the Yaqeen we have in our life, and the Yaqeen, the certainty that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there, the certainty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching, and He will respond and He will give us. And you will see blessings come into your life. This is a fact, it's in the Quran, you know. If you do these things, you will see the benefits from them. But perhaps more important, the benefits, you'll see them in this world, but the connection you will get with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is something that will not just help you in this world, but in the next as well. So let's just go briefly into each one. I will inshallah make videos about each of these 3, Salawat, Istighfar and Dhikr, in the coming days and weeks, but let me just give you a brief overview. So Salawat, what is it? Allahumma salli ala nabiyyina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's just one example of salawat. And it's basically just sending peace and blessings onto the Prophet Muhammad. I shouldn't say just, it is sending peace and blessings onto the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is a very nice quote that I like. If a person was to send salawat upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, equivalent to every breath, so every breath you take, you're making salawat, he will still not have fulfilled his right. He will still not have repaid the favour. We are indebted to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Think about how much he's given us in terms of guidance. His last words were ummati, ummati, ummati. He was praying for us, and he doesn't even know us personally, but he's praying for us. This is said by Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah. So that's salawat, just briefly. Istighfar is one of the best things, and it's seeking the forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here's a nice picture for you there. It's seeking the forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Forgiveness for what? For the sins that we commit in our lives. We all commit sins. Every single one of us, you know. However much you try to not commit sins, we do commit sins. If this is internally, externally, with our actions, with our words, with our eyes, we all commit sins. But simply saying astaghfirullah will bring benefits, incredible benefits. Even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to do istighfar. Some reports say 70, some narrations say 100 times per day, but at least 70 times per day he would make istighfar. And think about it, he's someone, alayhi salatu wasalam, who's guaranteed Jannah. Just think about that a second. We're not guaranteed Jannah. But he, alayhi salatu wasalam, was, and he made istighfar 70, 100 times per day. So if that's what he's doing, do imagine how much we should be doing. Dhikr. وَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرُكُمْ. That's basically, in a nutshell, what dhikr. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you remember Allah, He will remember you. And what is there greater than to be remembered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So that's, in a nutshell, really 7 minutes SID. If you're interested, I hope you are. Like and subscribe, and inshallah in the coming days and weeks I'll be going in depth for Salawat, Istighfar and Dhikr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.